Hi, I'm Kiki.
And I'm Kemi.
And you're listening to
Your Advisors Will See You Now, a podcast that will help you to figure out all of your options for life after high school.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Your Advisors Will See You Now. We are coming with another one of our Money Matters series. So if you're new to the podcast, our Money Matters series, we talk about all things money, honestly. We've talked about people on their debt-free journeys. We talked about how to manage your money. Well, we'll be doing that tonight or today, managing your money. But it's really just how to be financially fit and people on their journey to being debt-free. So tonight we're joined by Gabriel Smith. I'm gonna hype Gabriel up and Legacy because they've helped me a lot already. And I'll talk about that later. But I'm gonna introduce Gabriel and we'll go ahead and get started. So introducing Gabriel Smith, the heart and soul behind Legacy, a financial coaching powerhouse with a mission to redefine destinies. Alongside his wife, Shanice, Gabriel co-founded Legacy, bringing a unique blend of expertise and empathy to the forefront. Navigating the treacherous waters of financial uncertainty isn't just a professional pursuit for Gabriel and Shanice. It's a personal journey etched with the struggles of robbing Peter to pay Paul, wrestling with debt, and living without a clear plan. But from those very depths, Legacy emerged, a testament to their resilience and an embodiment of the belief that everyone deserves a chance at financial redemption. For Gabriel and Shanice, Legacy isn't just about transforming individual lives. It's about shaping a brighter future for their children, Gabriel Jr. and Hanaya. Their legacy is not just about leaving behind wealth, but instilling values of financial empowerment and responsibility in the next generation. Join Gabriel on a transformative podcast journey where practical teachings meet personal triumphs. As a featured guest, he will share insights, strategies, and real-life anecdotes, weaving a narrative that resonates with anyone striving to break free from financial chains. Remember, in the world of legacy, your financial story is not just a tale of numbers, it's a legacy in the making. Tune in, be inspired, and discover that indeed your legacy matters. This is a whole TV script, and I love it. Welcome, Gabriel. Thank you so much. That's amazing.
Perfect. What's going on, Kiki? Thank you for having me. I'm super excited just to share a little bit about my journey when it comes to the life in the world of finances, which can be intimidating, scary, disruptive, all of the things combined. So I think one of the things I'm excited to talk with you about is just our journey as a business, but more importantly, as an individual and my family, and kind of how we, what I say, conquered the beast of finances. But thank you again for having me.
Can you just share a little bit about your financial journey, like your background, like maybe how you got into financial struggle, and then like how your mindset shifted so that you could now, become financially free?
Yeah, great question. Great question. So I think my financial struggle was really since birth. And it's not saying that I grew up poor or in poverty, which I did not. But what I learned quickly was how ignorant I was about finances. How when we go throughout our education, there's no talk about it. There's really, budget, save your money, but there's not really a how-to guide to it. And so if your parents, which I love my parents, my mother and my stepfather have done an excellent job raising me. But when it comes to the world of saving, investing, paying off debt, we just didn't talk about it. So I think when I describe the plight of my financial journey, it's really rooted in the fact that I started it started from the bottom. I started from not knowing much to really now trying to just educate people and give people what I have. So yeah.
Absolutely. And I think people will relate to this a lot because that's a lot of us. We didn't we have great parents, great upbringings, but money maybe was like taboo to talk about, and it just wasn't discussed, like the savings, the debt part, the credit cards part. So I think a lot of people will relate to that for sure.
Yeah.
Can you share like what prompted you to reassess your relationship with money and just become like more conscious of your finances?
Oh, that's a great question. So I can point to the moment of when my wife and I got married. It was 2015, and I remember we were sitting down talking about finances and budgeting, and she was like, do you have a budget? And I'm like, we put our money together. We did. I said to myself, I said it out loud. I said, I don't need a budget. Like, and I know I'm gonna take care of my family. Like, and in that moment, I realized with her help that how ignorant I was and how much
Mhm.
my ego played a role in honestly some of the debt that I had at that time. I would love to say from that moment on, I was like good with my finances, but that's not a true statement. It took a couple of more years for me to really get a handle on it. But I think the moment I put my ego down and realized that money is like everything else, like it's a learned behavior to manage it, right? And so
Mhm.
once I realized that, I was then able to really start at least thinking about it. I break it down in like a 3-step method on how you get a handle on your finances. The first thing is knowledge, like you have to have the knowledge to do. The second thing is commitment, and the third
Mhm.
thing is action. I think I started getting the knowledge in school. I was an econ major, then I got my MBA, so the knowledge was there. However, what was not there was the action and the commitment. So yeah.
That's good. So, like, what what do you think? So you had the knowledge, but like people like yourself, or like what do you think maybe is the reason that people don't take action? Like, is it fear? Is it just lack of knowledge? Like, what do you think that is, or why that
Yeah,
is?
great question. I think from what I see in the coaching arena is I think people have this perception that everyone has it together. And
Hmm.
so finances are one of the things you can cover up. I can swipe my card and get the things I would like. I can post pictures on IG and it can look nice, and I can kind of fake the
Right.
funk. It's kind of hard to do that in other categories, right? Like it's hard to do that on your job and not perform because they'll kind of see you. It's hard to do
Hmm.
that in your marriage because it shows up. Finances are the thing you can hide. So until there's a level of exposure behind your financial struggles, it's easy to hide behind that. And I think there's a lot of shame, guilt, fear, and all the above on taking control of your finances. But it goes back to what we talked about a couple of minutes ago. I think it's also just not having the knowledge and what that looks like. And coincidentally, where if you look in a room of 10 people, stats will tell you that at least 4.5 of those people can't pay for a $500 emergency. And so that's across all demographics. And so I think when you bring that to light and realize this is a field and an environment in which a lot of people have a struggle, it makes it easier to talk about.
Absolutely. And yeah, I said I'm gonna hype y'all up later, so I'm not gonna do it right now because
No worries.
y'all created like a really great community. So can you just share like what steps you took to shift your mindset from like the scarcity mindset and overspending, which I know all of us have struggled with. Not lots of us have struggled with, but like how you went from kind of like scarcity, overspending to financial responsibility.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's going to be a unique answer. The scarcity mindset to me is rooted in a lot of what I teach is learned behavior. The scarcity mindset to me is not about the scarcity fact. It's about not identifying what's important to you. Therefore, if you don't identify what's important to you, you'll spend money on everything. And
Mm-hmm.
so part of what makes me steward money well is legacy. The fact that I have this financial coaching business, and it's like I want to pour into my clients to the fact that I want their lives to change. In order to do that, I have to be a good steward of my funds. That
Mm-hmm.
that applies to this, but it also applies to the mom or the dad, the parents that want to leave a legacy or leave a future for their kids. Like when that becomes a priority, it's less about scarcity and it's more about abundance and the things that matter in my life. So that's kind of my approach to it.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And it sounds like money. We make it really complicated, but it's like very introspective, and it's about like contentment. Like it's really about being like content with what we have. Because I feel like people are like, oh, I need like XYZ money, and that's what I'm learning right now. It's like I need all this money to do XYZ. That's not always the case. Like we probably have the money. It's just like finding it um in what you already have. And so the next question is about like contentment, about like gratitude. So how did you learn to create like gratitude or even like contentment in the midst of facing like setbacks and challenges as you were becoming financially responsible?
Yeah, realize that your life, your situation, your struggles aren't indicative of who you are as a person. And so I think that
Mm-hmm.
probably where I was able to make strides. And when I say that, I mean, if you have a financial struggle, that doesn't mean you're less than, right? It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean you're less of a person or less of a, or whatever. Like, it just means you're going through something that you have to learn to work through. And then not only that, the community, for me, as we were navigating financial struggles and trying to figure out life, like I had my wife.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not married or like find solace in the friends, like it's easy to talk about community in almost every subject but money.
Right.
Like if you have dating issues, you talk to your friends. If there
Right.
is, if it's like my job sucks, I can talk to my friends about that. But when it comes to money,
Yeah.
like I'll tell you I'm struggling, but
Right.
I really won't talk to you about what the struggle looks like.
Exactly. It's secretive, kind of, in a way.
Hmm. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I think that's related to kind of what we talked about earlier, where I think the way that money is talked about, particularly in the Black community, is it's not talked about. So the fact that it's not talked about in the household makes it even more uncomfortable to talk about with our friend groups.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a budget conversation with my parents until I started Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it just didn't have that understanding of what that even would look like. So why would we have it with our friend groups? Like,
Right. No, it's true. It's absolutely true. I want to go back. Like, you're mentioning budget here. You mentioned how your wife like simply asked you like, what's your budget look like? Like, what was that process like of like starting a budget? I know you probably did it together, but maybe like did you have to start on your own because you had like never budgeted before? Like, what were the steps you took to just like start implementing a budget? Period.
yeah, I lied. I lied to myself when I started my budget. It's it sounds funny, but it's true. Like I we started a budget, and I remember I was like, okay. I look back at our budget from years ago. It was like, okay, for dining out, we're gonna spend $50 a month, and for groceries, we're gonna spend $75. And so that process took a lot of work to. I'm not gonna say perfect. It's still a work in progress, but to actually get it to a point where it was a working document. And so
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I tell people is like, you're not going to succeed in budgeting as soon as you start.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you would not succeed at almost anything in life when you start. And so it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
a magic overnight. I think it took really years for us to get it really to the point where it became something where we felt comfortable. And again, when you're budgeting, when you haven't been learned, when you haven't been taught about budgeting, you don't know what you don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna say here a little bit. I know this is like free advice, so share as much as you want or as little as you want. But can you just, for somebody that maybe doesn't budget at all, can you
Yeah.
just talk about like what the steps to budget are? Like just very like preliminary.
Yeah, I love it. I love free advice. I don't care. It's a world where I feel like we should share knowledge. So when you first start budgeting, don't budget by a month. Budget by a cycle. So like if you get paid every 2 weeks, create a 4 week cycle and within those paychecks.
Mhm.
Budgeting by month works when you get paid by month. And some people do. Like I know a lot of teachers get paid monthly, but that's one of the biggest mistakes I see. Also, make sure your budget is balanced. So again, as you are budgeting, make sure that you have categories. You have your needs, you have your wants, and you have the like nice to haves. And so when you're budgeting
Mhm.
and creating that, I don't like seeing budgets that just have I'm gonna pay all my bills and I ain't spending no money for this cycle. It's just not true. And so when the thing I say to my clients, and it's good, is when I look at your budget, I should be able to tell you what's important to you. And so
Mhm.
if on that budget I can't identify what's important to you, I question if it's really important to you. So for example, if you tell me it's important for you to be a giver, right? And you want to give, whatever that looks
Mhm.
like, and I see no giving, but I see Netflix, Hulu,
Right.
Paramount Plus, Peacock, I'm going to ask you a question of, okay, what is your priority? So prioritization is another thing
Mhm.
that I think is key when you build a budget.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
No, that's really good. So, what were your strategies for staying disciplined, or what are your tips for people that need, like are wanting to budget and need to stay disciplined? Like, what did you do?
I love that question. I had a why. I had a reason for the discipline. And so identify why you want to make the change or make the adjustment financially, and it
Mm-hmm.
becomes easy. And I don't mean the why philosophically. Like I want to change the world. Like I'm not talking. I mean, yes, probably do, but make it more targeted and make it break it down smaller than that. So in the next month, I want to be able to get recording equipment to start a podcast. In the next month, I want to be able to at least start a savings account. Like make it so it can actually be felt and the impact can be there in a
Mm-hmm.
short term. So you're not making your goals too lofty. Because again, I use it as a financial management is really no different than any other type of management. Whether I want to change my diet, what you don't do when you want to change your diet to sustain, is take everything in the fridge and just throw it away and say, I'm starting over tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll fail. Right? Unless you're in that 1%. And so take baby steps in your goals and realize that, it's a journey.
Definitely. And I'm as you're saying, like have your why. I have a personal trainer, and that's like her biggest thing. So your why, it really should. You kind of mentioned it a little bit. Like your why should be across all your aspects of life, or your like the parts of your life. And you didn't say it, but I think you're alluding to like SMART goals too, like not having goals that are too lofty, things that are reasonable. So that's just like good life advice in general. But
Yeah.
it absolutely applies to your money too.
Well, this
Yeah,
may
you're
be
not
a
gonna
little
just jump right into a budget and it's gonna be perfect. Like you got to start somewhere and have like realistic goals and a why too. It's good.
this may be a little bit feel free to cut this out or leave it in. But I think it's if you show me a disciplined person that's disciplined in other things they try to accomplish, whether it's furthering their education, whether it's a fitness journey or what have you, I can almost guarantee once that person tries to take control of their finances, if they're disciplined, they'll be disciplined in that. I learned this from my wife. She's a therapist,
Mm.
so shout out to her. But
Okay,
it
that's
all
dope.
happens in the prefrontal cortex, like of your mind, your decision making.
Hmm.
So it's kind of hard for you to be terrible with your money once you take the steps to get control of it and not manage that, but knock out the fitness journey. Once you make again, I want to be clear though, once you make the decision to manage your
Right.
money, it's not going to naturally happen for most people.
Hmm. No, that's good. It is psychology too, so that is really good. We're gonna have your wife on next because I'm sure I feel like we need that side of it too.
Yeah, sure.
And so, like the next question on your journey, because it's a journey, and I'm sure you're still on the journey. Like you're still learning every day, which is how life should be. But like in the beginning stages or anywhere in the journey, like were there? Well, I'll say, what obstacles did you face, if
Oh yeah,
any, and
yeah.
and what'd you do to overcome those?
I'm gonna give you a little background.
Hmm.
I'll share it with you. I'll share the document. In 2013, decision to start Legacy. And so Legacy was living excellently, growing academically, and connecting with the youth. That was what Legacy was supposed to
Oh,
be.
cool. Okay.
But in 2013, I was broke. And I felt like there was no way that I would ever get to do that. And so the obstacle was I started with an idea and a plan, but I didn't have the resources to do it. And along
Hmm.
that, now we're in 2024. Legacy's only been around for a year. So you can see the gap in time. Like it wasn't like it started. So the obstacles were the same as most, I would say. It was the credit cards, it was the student loans, it was the refund checks that I didn't think I had to pay back because nobody really told me how they really worked. So I spent those. It was trying to cover up insecurities, so swiping my card. It was
Hmm.
those type of things that were obstacles, and then just life. Like we had our daughter young. I was
Hmm.
21, my wife was 19, and so having a child that young
Right.
without having real solid financial background, backing, it's hard, it's tough.
Hmm.
So what I say when it comes to obstacles is that whether they're self-induced or life is just lifing, there's always obstacles. So what better time to start your journey than now? And so I don't know. Like I do this with my clients. I go through every single month of the calendar and I ask them a question. When is it a good time for you to start your financial journey? Never. Like it's really never a good time, right?
True. You asked me that question too. You like no, you asked me that question as well. Like
Yeah.
one on one, and it is that's for anything. Like you just got to start it, and it'll change your life. Yeah, that's for anything. Okay, I think now we're getting into like the resources that you use. Like you're giving great advice already, but just like advice. But were there people like you've already mentioned your wife has been a huge impact in your financial journey and just your life, I know, but like were there people or like books or resources that you used that were like very helpful in helping you like shift your mindset and just stay on track?
Great question. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with the people. moved up to Northern Virginia in 2016, but not really Northern Virginia. It was Stafford, Virginia. So people, it was the DMV area. So the
Okay.
DMV area, I moved up to Alexandria in 2019 and met a good group of people. And so getting around people that could hold me accountable, but then also I can just talk about life with, help me grow. Shout out to Brandy, who was a coach for Legacy Financial. She did wonders in my life because we were able to bounce ideas off of each other and talk about financial struggles in a very vulnerable way with her, my wife, and myself. And so just knowing that it could be talked about was great. And I jumped right in. And so resources, The Behavioral Investor is a wonderful book to read. It talks about investing, but it also talks about like the mindset people have towards money and how we can trick ourselves to think certain things. Psychology of Money, which I literally give my clients a gift card to go buy that book. So that is one of the books that set the foundation for what I believe. In which one of the things it talks about in Psychology of Money is we can all tell ourselves financial truths and believe them ourselves. And so having a community, you asking that question is powerful. Like having a community is very important when it comes to the financial journey.
Absolutely. It does. It does wonders, like honestly. And I think the being able to talk about it part is like one of the biggest things that's helped me. Like, I would say like I'm just now I'm just now starting my financial journey, but I never discussed money probably until like the last 2 years. Like mainly it's like because you don't like it's like a lot of shame, it's a lot of guilt around it. And I had a family member that she like questioned my money, which is fine. But I feel like in the moment I was like devastated because it brought to light that I was not doing well financially. But it also like for a few weeks I was feeling like a lot of guilt, a lot of shame. But being able to like vent to people like, oh, this is what happened. This is like I got yelled at about my money, and like that was like it sucked, but also it helped me to start talking about it with people. And now it's just like, oh, we all have our problems. We all started somewhere. Like you said, started from the bottom. That's how I feel like I am right now. I'm starting from the bottom. It's like you can't go anywhere but up. So yeah, I encourage anyone listening, like if you don't talk to people, and Gabriel, you've already said it too, like if you're listening, you don't have anyone to talk about money with, find a financial advisor, or you have your friends too. Like friends advice is free, but like just to have people to bounce stuff off of or to relate to, it does make a difference in like how you view like, oh, I can do this kind of thing.
Yeah. What's interesting is when I got into financial coaching, all the degrees and all that stuff is cool. Which plug I have, right? But what I realize is that I don't know why. So when I say community, I'll be clear, make sure that the community can give you advice on finances.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know why finances is one of the few things we listen to people that aren't necessarily experts. Like for instance, I'm trying to learn how to drive. I'm not going to talk to my 12-year-old daughter. Like, I mean,
Right.
she's great. She's creative. She can do Legos. I mean, she's amazing, advanced classes and all that stuff. But I'm not going to ask her how to drive.
Right.
And so make sure that when you're surrounding yourself with people, like reach out to experts.
Yeah.
Depending on, and this is one thing that I think is powerful is what level do you want to achieve? So for instance, if I can go to the gym by myself and I'll do okay, but if I want to really reach levels and heights, I probably need to get a personal trainer. Same thing with your finances. And again, that's not even, it can be a financial coach, financial advisor. It can be whatever resources, but like get yourself around people or somebody that can help you level up.
That's a good point. You're right. You're absolutely right. That's a good disclaimer. Get people. Well, you have your community. Like it's good to have your friends or anybody, but at least have one person, like you're saying, that knows what they're talking about and that can give you sound advice. That's a good point for sure. The next question I'll ask, and this can it can be whatever, but like I'll say for your journey of learning how to budget, learning how to save, learning how to invest, and just honestly like becoming financially responsible. what do you think that has opened up for you to do? Like, how has that like changed your life?
And that's
It's a loaded question, but
a deep question. It allowed me to. My wife and I were actually talking about this earlier. She took a break from working full time for about 2 years
Mhm.
to pursue her master's and all that good stuff when it comes to therapy. A lot of education. And so we were talking about how we could not have done that together if we weren't a good steward of our funds.
Mhm.
Launching Legacy, where I have successfully been able to impact, it'll be closing in on 100 people in a year financially. Like I wouldn't have been able to do that.
Right.
Not
That's awesome.
not just because of my own like pride and my financial standing. It actually because I wouldn't have the resources to start a business.
Mhm.
Like you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? It's not about like it costs money to do these things. Like people are like,
Yeah.
go
Oh, for
start a
sure.
podcast, go do this, go do, and it's like it costs money to do this stuff and to
Right.
do it well. And so it just opened up my eyes that life is a lot more than our financial stress. And once we relieve ourselves from that, I think you're able to really hone in on your passion and your purpose in life. And you can make money while you do it.
Mhm.
It doesn't need to be where I'm just doing this for my passion and purpose. No, monetize it. Right? Like make it monetization equals more impact. It
Right.
equals more people you can reach. And so it just opens your eyes to all that. And you said it was a loaded question that it is because I think about what like the people I could not have reached if I didn't get my finances together.
Right. Mhm.
It's bigger than like what I can do, but it's like what skills, talents, and ability do you have that you're not able to show because of your financial situation?
Mhm. Absolutely. That's awesome. What advice, or no, I wouldn't even say, I'll say what advice. So like we hope that our primary audience are college students or like high school students. It's
Yeah.
not. It's honestly people like our age. So I'll get to that in a second. But if there are any college students or high school students listening that don't really manage money yet, they don't have money yet, like what would your advice be to them? Like steps to take to go into adult life with a good money mindset, and like how could they start now?
Oh, I love that question. I remember when I was in high school and I always had an eye for money. Like I could, in my mind, I knew how to manage money. Now the
Hmm.
practicality took a long time.
Okay,
But like
I
I
got you.
remember, I remember thinking like that's what old people do. Like I'm good. Like it's and so what I would tell young people is start small. Like studies literally show the power of compound interest and just accumulating wealth. If you start with $10 at the age of 15, 14,
Hmm.
15, save $10 a week, $10 a month. Like just start putting something away for two reasons. One, financially it's smart and you'll have money and all that stuff, whatever. But then
Right.
also it teaches you the power of discipline
Hmm.
and delayed gratification, which I think is more powerful than almost anything money can buy. So my
Yeah.
advice to you is teach yourself to say no to yourself. And why? Because that will be a lesson for you, not only in your finances, but in your growth as a person. That
Right.
things come when you're patient and you wait. And so that would be my advice. And you ain't gonna be young that forever. I still got my
Yeah.
hairline still there, but it's
Exactly.
a little bit further back than it used to be. And you know, I got some grays in the beard, and so yeah,
You're
it
right.
happens
You be
fast.
older.
It happens fast.
It sure does. It really, yeah, dang. But on like in the same vein, then, and we both kind of said that our upbringing, we didn't talk about money, didn't really discuss those things. What would you tell parents then, like how to start these discussions with their kids?
Yeah, I had a conversation with my mom, and she was feeling a little bit down about like some of the stuff she didn't teach me. And
Mm-hmm.
so for parents, I would say now it's a little bit easier. And the reason I say is information is more available.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I say to our team and to clients is ignorance is never acceptable. So learn. So if I tell parents like learn yourself. You can't teach
Hmm.
what you don't know.
Right.
And if you and oh, this is good. If you don't know, get somebody around your kids and yourself that does. Because
Yeah.
I will tell you this: my son is 7 years old. He plays baseball. I've never played baseball. I mean, I think I played when I was little, but I don't have the skills or anything. So
Mm-hmm.
I make sure he's around coaches that can make him better. So parents, the same energy you have towards the sports, towards the education,
Right.
towards that Easter outfit, have that same energy when it comes to finances. Like just have it, and yeah, have that energy.
No, that's really good. That's good. It's like simple advice too.
Yeah,
So now we'll bring it back to our age group, or not even our age group, but like people that are like listening and
yeah.
are maybe like not in the best financial place right now. You've mentioned it a little bit, but like you've mentioned it, but like just to summarize for anyone that wants to start, like what would your tip be to them? Like if they want to start, if they're in debt, like over their head, feeling overwhelmed, what's your advice to them?
You want my real advice?
Yes, please, of course.
Stop making excuses for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Stop having the woe it's me. And my wife is famous for shutting that out of my life. Stop having that woe it's me mentality and get the help you need. And I don't care if it's legacy. I don't care if it's the great uncle that knows about money. It like get the help you need because time is of the essence.
Mm-hmm.
And so in our age group, let's say late 20s, early 30s or whatever, like your time is running out for you to be the youngest person in the room.
Mm-hmm.
You're the youngest person in the room. There's a little bit of excuses. Like, you know what I mean? There's a little bit of like, oh, they're young. You got plenty of time. I'm starting not to be the youngest person in the room anymore. And
Right.
it's scary. Like, it's
Yeah.
weird. Like, how old are you? I'm 33. And it's like, 31? Like, oh, okay, hey.
Yep. Yes.
And so stop making excuses for yourself and stop putting it off. Dive in, look at your finances. They're not going to define who you are. I said that earlier, but they will define your future and what you can do if you don't get a hold on them fast.
Yeah, that's it. No excuses, or stop making excuses. Really, yeah, we shouldn't have excuses, but stop making the excuses. But this has been really great. I mean, one more question. Like, if you have any, you've already given amazing advice, but like, you have any other tips or advice or anything that you want to share? Go for it.
Yeah. People ask me this question all the time. Should I pay off debt or should I save? I don't know. When I say I don't know, don't make that decision without having a total look at your finances. It would be again like going to the gym and they say, "What do you want to work on?" or "What should I work on?" And you haven't had any type of physical. They don't even see you, right? And it's just like I'm calling in. What should I work on? Like
Right.
I don't know what's your health situation. And so there is no one size fits all. That's my advice financially. You need to come up with a plan that fits you. I work with clients that are entrepreneurs, people that are 9 to 5, people that have both, people that have no debt, some debt. This may break the podcast, but I really hesitate to ever tell people financial freedom is the end goal or debt freedom is the end goal.
Mm,
The end goal is you living the best life you can, and you do that through financial management.
right.
But if debt freedom is the end goal, debt is still zero. I pay off all my debt and I have no money. It's still
Mm-hmm.
zero.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of money, but I have no purpose. Just money. And
Right.
so my
Good.
my my advice is um make sure that you don't try to have a one size fits all approach to your financial journey and humble yourself. It's okay. And if you balling, if you're doing everything great, don't stop there.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned it earlier. It's truly a journey. And my journey ends when I take my last breath. And
Mm-hmm.
until then, well, maybe not. Maybe, maybe I get in my 80s. I may be like, it's over. I'm good. but, but you never stop learning.
Right.
You always seek education.
Absolutely. I have one more question that you just like made me think of this. So, yeah, if there's somebody out there that is balling, like is doing fine, or for anybody, honestly, but like, what would you say if someone like ideally doesn't have any debt, just has money,
Mhm.
like what should they be doing? What would you recommend they do? I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah. LeBron James has the coach. LeBron James has the trainer. He's, in
Right.
my opinion, the best basketball player of all time. That's debatable, but and so even if you have money and you don't have debt, there's still levels to it. And so
Hmm.
I'm learning as a coach where like we can then talk about bonds, we can talk about stocks, we can talk about REITs, we can talk about real estate, we can talk about trust. Like there's so much more than that. And even to me, it's like, yeah, I started my business and legacy is great. Cool. But there's levels to this thing.
Hmm.
So I'm not trying to get stuck and say I'm good. I'm no. And then also what's even more important, what is given to you or what you've worked for financially, it can be taken away.
Hmm.
And so if you're not continuing to educate yourself when you get to those low moments when things happen, you'll
Right.
revert and you won't have the proper principles in place to succeed.
Mhm. So the answer is get a coach. That's what I heard. I mean, yeah, like it's like yeah, have a team, have a team.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna let you. I already read your bio, and it was in there, but I want you to shout out Legacy as well, and like just
Do I have to?
what you all offer. Do you have to?
Yeah.
Yes, please. I mean, just like a little something.
All
If you
right, cool.
don't, I'm gonna do it for you. So
I really don't. I gave a presentation and my wife Shanice was like, "You literally didn't plug your business at all." I'm like, "All right, cool, I got you." That means it's about the people. All right, so
right, go ahead.
legacy financial coaching. Again, this is a passion of mine, a purpose of mine, and really the whole mission is to help people understand and identify how to effectively manage their finances, whether that's saving, paying off debt, investing. We really take an individual approach to to what many call as a dark secret in so many people's lives. And so the programs I have, I offer individual one-on-one coaching, which is based on wherever the individual's at, and then I have an investment workshop as well as a debt reduction boot camp, which have sold out every time they have went live. And so
Mhm.
try to create the community in those boot camps and workshops that people can get okay and get vulnerable to talk and at least think about money. And then in the one-on-ones, it's literally just you and I or Brandy, my other coach, our other coach, working together to get you to where you need to be financially in about 3 or 4 months. Some of my clients, they just never go away. So I got a retainer program too. And it's definitely, it's just powerful to see people feel the impact when it comes to their finances changing. So
That's what's up. Okay, well, time. So I'm gonna say Gabriel told me because I did. I'm gonna shout out like a bunch of people. Janae, one of my best friends,
yeah.
referred me to you all. Referred me to Legacy because she knows I've been trying to work on my finances. So I've gone through the debt reduction workshop, and I talked with Gabriel at the end, and he was just like, he was like, well, when are you gonna get started with your budgeting? I was like, oh, give me like for like my finances. He was like, I was like, give me 3 months, and he was like, well, yeah, same thing you kind of just said. Like, why can't you start sooner than that? And I was like, well, I guess I can. So I've started. But you also told me not to say anything for 5 weeks. And I know we're recording this early, but it's coming out in April. So it'll be 5 weeks by then. And I'm just going to say, like, it's already been life changing. I'm working with another shout out. I'm working with Brandy, who's been awesome, really awesome so far. I've only talked to her like twice one on one, but I'm already doing things that I never did before. I'm already like using the budget worksheet, like my expenses, like tracking expenses. Never did that before in my entire life. So even Kemi, who I'm gonna shout her coaching business out, she started with me in December, and we did finances. That was like her helping me get my finances on track. And so I would just say like it's just been for the last 2.5, 3 months focusing on getting them together. So I will recommend Coach Kemi. Kemi always, talks about her business, her coaching business on here. So between Coach Kemi and Legacy, I have truly been blessed by everyone. I haven't met Shanice yet, haven't met Crystal yet, but I know the Legacy team is amazing. So I've been super blessed by them, by Kemi. So if you're anyone that is trying to get your, with Kemi, you want to get your career or just anything in your life together, I recommend Coach Kemi. If you want to get your finances together and get a control over them, which is what my goal is, I recommend Legacy Financial. Highly recommend both. So our goal here is to connect you all to resources as well. And I'm reviewing both of them because I've used both, so I know for a fact like it's making a change. And I mean, honestly, I'm like 2 weeks into my budgeting at the time of this recording, but I know it's making a difference in my life already. So that's my little shout out to y'all.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I'm gonna throw this in here because I need to shout her out too. Can you add it somewhere? Like figure out how to add it in. I want to shout out Crystal, who so Crystal, she's part of our legacy team. I mentioned Brandy, I mentioned Shanice. Crystal is the admin strategist for Legacy.
Mhm.
Um, every person has a weak spot, and my weak spot, honestly, is strategy. I'm big picture. I can tell you where we're going, but when it comes to the day to day, I just like talking about people's budgeting and finances. So Crystal has really came in on the team and helped us get some organization to our processes as well. So it's seamless from the moment people sign up to
Right.
the moment they leave us. So yeah.
No, that's awesome. Look, this is another aspect of community. So you got to shout out everybody for sure. Where can people find you? I'm gonna put it in the show notes, but where can people find you all if they want to connect?
Oh yeah, you're really making me do this. All right, at Legacy Financial you can find us at Legacy Financial underscore on Instagram and on Facebook as well. A YouTube channel is coming soon, so that's kind of where you can find us: Instagram and Facebook for now.
All right, that's what's up. I'm just helping you try to, make sure you are plugging things when you present. You got to make sure you plug stuff too, plug everything, because
Yeah, for sure.
it's how we find you. But Gabriel, thank you so much for being on here. Thank you for for legacy. Like, you are helping people create legacies, and you all are doing a great service to a lot of people. So thank you for what y'all are doing in the community for other people, and for being on the podcast. Like, that was free advice, and it was like some of the best advice that people are gonna ever hear. So thank you for your time.
I appreciate it. I'm definitely humbled, and y'all keep grinding, even when in the moments of it's like, how many views do I have? How many people watched this? How many people shared it? Like, just know that that your purpose is being fulfilled, and don't quit. Like, don't. Yeah, I was led to say that. Like, just keep grinding, keep working, because it's important. Like, these platforms are important, and it's funny. Like, people look at these podcasts with like millions of views, but imagine if they quit when they started.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
you're right.
Just keep going, and one day we'll do this, and somebody gonna pay you $50K to come on. They're gonna pay me $50K to come on, and we're gonna be like, oh, well, we're there. Cool.
Exactly. Yep. That's a goal. I'll say that. Not the goal, but it's a goal for sure. But we appreciate that a lot. We appreciate that. We appreciate you, and thanks so much for being here again. And everybody, thanks so much for listening to another episode. We appreciate your support, for sharing the podcast, for listening to the podcast, for following us on social media. You can find us at Yawson Podcast on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. If you have any ideas or things you want to hear around finances, or if you have your own journey to being financially responsible, we'd love to hear from you too. So please feel free to email us at yawsonpodcast@gmail.com. Our inbox is like really dry, so we're trying to get more engagement from you all. So we'd love to hear from you. You can DM us, you can email us, just reach out to us. We'd love to hear and talk to y'all. So we want to make sure that we're providing what you all want to listen to. We're doing what we want to hear, what we think y'all want to hear, but give us suggestions too. That would be super helpful. But thanks for listening to the podcast, and we'll see you next time. See y'all.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and listening to the latest episode of Your Advisors Will See You Now. Please make sure to follow us on all of our social media pages and check out our website. Take a look at the show notes below.
And please make sure to subscribe and share this podcast. Also, show us some love, and please leave a 5-star review. Catch you next time.
See ya.